Hey people, in this video I'm going to be going over how to use a really useful design tool called Canva, which basically makes graphic design really easy even if you don't have the skills, if you don't know how to use Photoshop and all that. They have a bunch of pre-made templates and easy to use stuff that allows you to edit photos and text and all sorts of stuff for social media. You can make business cards, you can make a PowerPoint presentation, you can design your resume, or make an infographic. It's really versatile and really easy to use. So basically what you need to do here is just go to the Canva homepage and make your account, and once you have that, we'll go into the tutorial. So once you've created your account, you're going to get taken to your main basically dashboard page, and from here you have a couple options to start creating new designs. You can click this button. You also have this search where you can search like with autocomplete for the various types. So like if you want to do Facebook ad, all this different stuff, it'll basically search through that way. You also have, you can scroll visually and see all the different types here as well. Down here you can see it'll basically give you a overall kind of collection of all the stuff you've made. Most of these are all YouTube thumbnails. That's generally what I do. But beyond that, this will be like all your designs. Then you can also create folders that, like for specified stuff, let's say you have like different websites. If you have more than one website, you can break it down like that. Or if you're doing client work or different projects, stuff like that, you can organize all your various designs that way. Going up here, if you do a paid plan, you can create a team. So if you're like on part of a design team for a business or whatever, or if you're doing client work again, you can create a team and then you can share your designs with people via email or whatever, and they can click a link and they can check it out to kind of, like if you have a client and you want them to approve, like if they like the design, you can share it with them there. Design School is basically just collections of tutorials on how to use Canva itself, and also some general design stuff like how to match colors, I think, and stuff like that. And then Brand Kit, again, if you have a paid plan, you can upload logos and custom fonts and stuff like that, and then you can basically use it that way. But for now, we're just going to go over like the free tutorial stuff. So we're going to create a design, and again, you can sort through, and if none of these fit what you want to do, you can do custom dimensions and make whatever size you want. But for this, I think we're just going to go with an Instagram post, and we'll use this basically to just kind of go over the basic editor layout and all the stuff you can do with it and the various tools you have to use. So when you start off, what you're going to have is this blank white canvas, and generally speaking, unless you already have something in mind, like for me, I like to use, if we go back to the home, I kind of have like my pre-made designs. I kind of like this layout for my YouTube thumbnails, so I'll generally just copy this and then change out the text. But if you don't have a set idea for what you want to do, generally I'd scroll down, and they have I think hundreds, maybe thousands of these pre-made templates, and you can find whichever one you want. They have holidays, birthdays, stuff like that. But basically, so let's say you like this, you can click on it, and then they already have the font and all this different stuff set up, and you can go in and then change it to customize your text, and that will save you quite a bit of time. This is also good to learn how they do stuff. Like, so this is a pretty advanced template. You can see all these different elements. If you go in here, you can kind of see, you can mess around with it and see, okay, this is how they get this effect. It's like this. It looks like it looks like they use like a circle element. If you go in here, they have all these shapes and stuff, so it looks like they got creative. They used a circle element and they kind of moved half it off the screen. They used some lines. They did all this stuff. So this is, going through these templates is a good way to learn kind of how to use the more advanced stuff, get some ideas, if nothing else, or just flat out use the template and just change out the text. That'll save you quite a bit of time. But for now, we're just going to click Control Z and get rid of that, and we'll move on to showing how to work with elements and text and all that stuff. Some other things, like to delete that, I click Control Z. There's a lot of keyboard shortcuts and stuff that'll save you time instead of having to do it through the user interface. Click on it, click delete. So I'll post a link to Canva's own list of all those keyword shortcuts too if you want to look at those. But moving on to elements, a great thing about Canva is that they have a ton of stock photos. So like you can see here, they're all free for the most part. Some are premium and you can pay for them, but generally you're gonna be fine just doing the free ones. So you can see if you come in here, you can sort just by photos, or you can also look at graphics. And I think you can also put in free. If you put in free up there, it'll sort out so you don't get the paid ones. So you can do that. Another thing, so if you just put in the image like that, you'll have to stretch it out and stuff. So if you don't want to mess with that, you can do a grid, and then you can just drag it over and it'll automatically kind of crop it. So you can then kind of slide it back and forth because it doesn't fit. If the image is too big or not the right size, you're going to have to crop it. But that makes it really easy to do just like that. So now we can see we get it cropped so it fits. So if we're just doing an Instagram post, we've got our image now, and then you could do like a text overlay. I think you can do a bunch of different filters that are built in. So you can do that automatically. You also have adjust. You can do the brightness, contrast. I think you can also do, so let's get rid of that filter. And you can also do like an overlay. So if we go back into elements and we select a shape, we can match this up like this to make it the same size as the image. And then we can adjust the transparency and the color to kind of give it a tint. So if you want to do like a little darken it a little bit, you can do that. And then over the top now we can do some text so it stands out a little bit better. So, and you can drag. This is probably what you're going to be working with the most a lot is the text. So basically you can do subheading, body text, or heading. It really doesn't matter because you can always come in here and change it to whatever size you want. So technically this is a heading, but you can make it really small. But we're going to do maybe 48. And it automatically adjusts too. If you scroll this box, it'll automatically change it up there. But we can then change it to the color to white since we had that dark overlay, and we can do learn how to use Canva. And if you don't like how this is kind of on two lines, you can stretch it and try to make it fit. And this, since it's just not big enough, you'd have to decrease a little bit. So if we go to 64, then you can make that fit on one line. Or you can, once again, you can always scrunch it if you want. You can drag it, and it automatically gives you those purple lines. It kind of tells you how it's centered. So if you move it, you can see we're dead center now. So if you want dead center, you can use those lines. That'll help you out. And as you add other elements, it'll also tell you like in parallel to these other ones. So you can see how it's lined up compared to the center of this element itself, and then compared to the whole page as well. So let's keep looking at some more text stuff. You can add lists, you can uppercase it, spacing, you can adjust that between the letters, and also like line height as well. Basically anything you can think about doing kind of Word or something like that, you can probably do it with Canva. One issue if you do this, you're probably going to want to add that overlay last, because otherwise you can see we can't access the picture underneath. So one thing to keep in mind is if you want to make changes to that image underneath after that overlay, you're going to have to either scroll that out and get it like that, or delete it and add it last. So once you do that, because it was covering it, you can't get access. Or if we click Control Z, another thing is you can temporarily move it to the back or the front. So if we move it back, we can see now it basically disappears because it's kind of like a layer. If you've used Photoshop, you have layers. That's kind of what's going on here. We also have, so for images, any image you can do this with, you can flip it horizontal. You can also flip it vertical. You can do all sorts of basic stuff like that. And again, cropping it. With the grid, you can just drag it back and forth, but any image you can also crop, even if it's not in a grid. But moving on, in addition to your text, your elements, you can do background. So I like to use gradient backgrounds for simple stuff, but you also have like stock images. As you can see, it won't show up if we get rid of this image. Then you can see it appears in the back, and we can also see this thing. We can't. So basically, the background is the furthest back layer. You can see this overlay box that we have. You can't push it further back. So the background is always going to be like the base layer that everything else is above, and that allows you, if you're thinking in layers, you can do some cool effects based on how you stack stuff on your image. So that's your backgrounds. You can use a bunch of different stuff or an image. You also have the option for uploads. You can upload custom images if they don't have what you want in your images. When you search through here, you can upload your own stuff, and you can also make folders and all that. In addition, so you have your apps. A lot of these are paid, so if you do Canva for work, those are stuff that you have to pay to use. But you can animate elements, like the way the text, it can animate in, so you can make like a GIF or GIF, however you pronounce it. So your text or different things will pop up. You have magic resize, which will allow you to, instead of making like this, we chose Instagram post. With the magic resize, you can basically have one design and it'll automatically adjust stuff. So if you want the same image to be an Instagram post and a YouTube thumbnail and a Facebook post, it'll automatically resize it, which can save you quite a bit of time. Brand Kit, I mentioned earlier, is where you can use your own custom logos and fonts and stuff. Image Pro, that gives you access to some of the paid stuff for free. So instead of paying $1 for every image, you can get them for free, which if you're using a bunch of them, that's probably why they do it, is that you're better off paying them $10 a month or however much it is than paying $1 for every image that you're using. Organization, that's just for teams. And then you can also set it up so that you have a transparent background and additional fonts that don't come with the free plan. So the last thing to really take a look at is, like I mentioned earlier, if you click on this, you have the option to share. So if you're doing like client work and you want them to see before you download it and finalize stuff, you can send them a link and then they can come and look at what the design looks like. You also have download options, so you can download the file. You can also convert, like if you're doing a PowerPoint, you can download it as a presentation, or you can email it to somebody. Animation, if you have the Pro plan, and then it has like, you can basically integrate all your different social media accounts, and you can automatically, I think it'll post it directly to, so like Twitter, you can connect your Twitter account and it'll automatically just post your design here. So that can kind of save you a step. Instead of downloading it, then uploading it to Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and then posting it, you can do it all in one step right inside the editor. So that can be a pretty useful tool. But that's basically everything I want to cover in this tutorial. Just kind of go over the basics and really just raise awareness. Some people might not have been aware about Canva and the stuff you can do with it. It can really make things easier compared to trying to mess around with Photoshop. It'll save you a lot of time. So really, once you have the basics down, the best way to learn the rest is to kind of have an idea in your head of what you want to make, and then struggle a little bit, look for help, kind of go through Canva's documentation and their tutorials for specific stuff, and kind of work your way through a problem and figure it out. That's really, for me, and I think most people, that's the best way to learn the rest. So if this video helped you out, hit like and subscribe if you like this type of content. I think I'll be doing another tutorial with Canva because I have a specific tool that'll help you make a business card as well. So I'll be doing some more specific instructional videos with Canva and stuff like that in the future. So if you're interested, hit subscribe.